There are stories in the Bible that pastors avoid. Stories too dark, too disturbing, too real. This is one of them. In the region of the Gerasenes, across the Sea of Galilee, there lived a man. But he wasn't really a man anymore. He was a graveyard, a walking tomb, a prison for thousands of voices that weren't his own. His name, if he even remembered it, was lost. The demons inside him called themselves Legion because they were many. 2,000 demons, one body, and the day they met Jesus, hell itself trembled. To understand this story, you need to understand where it happened. The Gerasenes, Gentile territory, pagan land, not Israel. This was a place where Jews didn't go, a place where different gods were worshipped, where spiritual darkness had free reign. The Gospel of Mark tells us Jesus crossed the Sea of Galilee specifically to get there. Not by accident, not casually. He went intentionally, because there was a man there who needed deliverance, a man everyone else had given up on. Mark 5 verse 2 says, "The moment Jesus stepped out of the boat, this man came running from the tombs." The tombs. Not from a house, not from the city, from the graveyard, because that's where he lived. Why the tombs? Why would anyone live in a graveyard? Because no one else would have him. His family had tried to help. The community had tried to restrain him, but nothing worked. Scripture says they had bound him with chains and shackles multiple times, but every single time he broke them. Not normal human strength, demonic strength. Mark 5:4 says, "No one could bind him anymore, not even with a chain, for he had often been bound with shackles and chains. But he wrenched the chains apart and he broke the shackles in pieces. No one had the strength to subdue him." Think about that. Entire communities tried. Strong men, multiple chains, iron shackles. He broke them all like twigs. So they gave up. They abandoned him to the tombs, to the place of death. And there he lived like an animal, worse than an animal. Let me paint a picture of what this man had become. Mark 5:5 tells us, "Night and day, among the tombs and on the mountains, he was always crying out and cutting himself with stones." Night and day, no rest, no peace, no sleep. He was naked. Luke's gospel specifically mentions this. Completely naked, living among the dead. His hair, matted, filthy, probably down to his waist. His body, covered with self-inflicted wounds, cuts, gashes, scars upon scars. Why? Why would he cut himself? Because the demons inside him wanted him dead. They wanted him to suffer, to bleed, to feel pain every moment of every day. Self-harm wasn't a choice, it was compulsion, demonic compulsion. And the screaming, the screaming, day and night, in the tombs, on the mountains, his voice, or rather their voices, echoing through the region. Imagine living in the nearby town, trying to sleep at night, and hearing that distant, inhuman shrieking from the graveyard. No wonder they stayed away. This wasn't mental illness in the way we understand it today. This was spiritual oppression on a level most of us can't even imagine. This was a man so filled with demonic presence that his own personality was buried under thousands of evil spirits. But here's what makes this even more horrifying. He was still aware. Somewhere, deep inside that prison of flesh and demon, the real man still existed. Still conscious, still feeling, still suffering. Trapped inside his own body while thousands of demons used him like a puppet. That's the true horror of demonic possession. It's not that your body is taken, it's that you're still in there, watching, unable to stop what's happening. A prisoner in your own skin. Now, so when Jesus stepped off that boat onto Gerasenes soil, he knew exactly what he was walking into. The disciples didn't. They were probably just glad the storm on the sea had calmed down. But Mark 5:2 says, "Immediately there met him out of the tombs a man with an unclean spirit." Immediately. The moment Jesus arrived, the demons knew. They could sense him, feel his presence, and they were terrified. Picture this, Jesus standing on the beach, disciples behind him, and from the graveyard, this naked, bloodied, shrieking man comes running towards them. The disciples probably reached for weapons, stepped back, ready to defend their rabbi. But Jesus didn't move. He didn't flinch. He didn't retreat. He stood there, waiting. And then something happened that no one expected. The man, or rather the demons inside him, fell down before Jesus. Mark 5:6. When he saw Jesus from afar, he ran and fell down before him. Not attacked, fell down. Worshipped? No. Submitted? Not willingly. They had no choice. Because demons, no matter how many, no matter how powerful, cannot stand in the presence of the Son of God without bowing. Their rebellion is cosmic, but their subjugation is absolute. And then the man, or the demons using his voice, screamed, "What have you to do with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? I adjure you by God, do not torment me." Let that sink in. The demons knew exactly who Jesus was. They called him Son of the Most High God. They knew his identity better than most humans did. And they were begging, pleading, not to be destroyed. Because Jesus had already given the command, "Come out of the man, you unclean spirit." Not a request, not a negotiation, a command. And demons, when commanded by the authority of Christ, have only one option: obey. And Jesus asked a question, a simple question. What is your name? Why would he ask? Did Jesus not know? Of course he knew. He knows everything. But he asked for a reason. He was making the demons confess, making them reveal the extent of the infestation. And the answer that came out was chilling. "My name is Legion, for we are many." Legion, not a personal name, a military term. A Roman legion consisted of approximately 6,000 soldiers. But the Greek word used here, legion, suggests a massive number. Mark 5:13 tells us specifically how many demons were inside this man. About 2,000. 2,000 demons inside one human body. How is that even possible? How does a human body, a human mind, contain that level of spiritual infestation? We don't fully understand it, but Scripture records it as fact. 2,000 unclean spirits, all speaking through one mouth, all controlling one body, all tormenting one soul.
And here's what terrifies me most. They identified themselves as Legion not because they were organized, but because they were occupying. Like an occupying army, they had taken this man's body and claimed it as territory. He wasn't just possessed, he was occupied, invaded, a battleground. But now they were face to face with the only power that could evict them, and they knew it. Mark 5:10 says, "And he begged him earnestly not to send them out of the country." Why? Why beg to stay in the region? Because demons need a place, a territory. They want to inhabit. They didn't want to be cast into the abyss. Not yet. They knew their time was coming, but they wanted to delay it. So they negotiated, or tried to. Demons negotiating with God. The audacity alone is staggering. "Send us to the pigs. Let us enter them." There was a herd of pigs nearby, about 2,000 pigs. Notice the number. matches the number of demons. Scripture is specific about details like this. Pigs, unclean animals in Jewish law, perfect vessels for unclean spirits, and Jesus gave them permission. One word, that's all it took. Go. And they went. Mark 5:13 says, "So he gave them permission, and the unclean spirits came out and entered the pigs, and the herd, numbering about 2,000, rushed down the steep bank into the sea and drowned in the sea." 2,000 pigs possessed for maybe 3 seconds, and in those 3 seconds, they did what the demons wanted the man to do all along. They killed themselves. It was violent. It was chaotic. 2,000 animals stampeding in terror, rushing headlong into the water, drowning themselves. Why? Because that's what demons do. They kill, they steal, they destroy. Jesus said it himself in John 10:10, "When demons enter, death follows." But notice something crucial. The man didn't die. The pigs did. Why? Because Jesus was in control, not the demons. They could only do what he allowed, and he used their own destructive nature to prove a point. This is what they wanted to do to the man for years, for however long they'd been inside him. They wanted him dead, drowned, destroyed. But they couldn't, because God, in his sovereignty, wouldn't let them finish the job. He kept this man alive through all the cutting, all the screaming, all the self-destruction, because he had an appointment with him on a beach on this day. And now, the demons were gone. All 2,000 gone, cast into the sea with the pigs. And the man? Mark 5:15 tells us what happened next. They came to Jesus and saw the demon-possessed man, the one who had had the legion, sitting there, clothed and in his right mind, and they were afraid. Sitting, not screaming. Clothed, not naked. In his right mind, not insane. The transformation was instant, complete, total. The disciples gave him clothes, probably their own, someone's robe, someone's cloak. And for the first time in years, maybe decades, this man was human again. Imagine that moment. Imagine the first breath where you realize the voices are gone. The first thought that's actually yours. The first moment of silence, real silence inside your head. After years of torment, years of imprisonment in your own body, years of hell. Suddenly, peace.
But the story doesn't end with celebration. It ends with fear. Mark 5:15 says, "They were afraid." Who? The townspeople, the pig herders who had witnessed it. They saw the man healed. They should have been celebrating, but instead, they begged Jesus to leave. Why? Why would they reject the one who just set a captive free? Because freedom is disruptive. Miracles are uncomfortable. Power that can cast out 2,000 demons can overturn your whole world. And these people, they liked their world the way it was. They'd rather have a demon-possessed man in the tombs and 2,000 pigs alive than deal with the implications of Jesus being who he claimed to be. So they asked him to leave, and he did. But not before the healed man made one final request.
Mark 5, verse 18. As he was getting into the boat, the man who had been possessed with demons begged him that he might be with him. Can you blame him? If you had just been freed from literal hell on earth, wouldn't you want to stay as close as possible to the man who freed you? Wouldn't you be terrified of being left behind? Terrified the demons might come back? But Jesus said no. Not because he didn't care, but because he had a different mission for him. Mark 5:19 through 20. Go home to your friends and tell them how much the Lord has done for you and how he has had mercy on you. Go home, back to the people who chained you, back to the town that abandoned you, back to the family that gave up on you, and tell them what God did. That's terrifying. That's vulnerable. That's hard. But that's exactly what Jesus asked, and the man obeyed. And he went away and began to proclaim in the Decapolis how much Jesus had done for him, and everyone marveled. The Decapolis, 10 cities, Gentile territory, pagan land. This man became the first missionary to the Gentiles. Not Paul, not Peter. A former demoniac, a man who had been a graveyard, a walking tomb. Now, a walking testimony. And when Jesus returned to that region later in his ministry, guess what happened? Crowds came to him. Gentile crowds, people who had rejected him the first time. Why? Because of one man's testimony. One man who refused to shut up about what Jesus did for him. So what does this story teach us? First, demons are real. Not metaphors, not mental illness labels. Real spiritual entities with real destructive power. Second, no one is beyond Jesus' reach. Not the man everyone gave up on, not the one living in the tombs, not the one cutting himself, not the one with 2,000 demons. If Jesus can deliver him, he can deliver anyone. Third, deliverance is instant when Jesus commands it. Years of torment, gone in a moment. That's the power of his word. Fourth, your testimony matters. You might not cross the sea with Jesus, but you can go home and tell what he did, and that might reach more people than you ever imagined. But here's the question that haunts me about this story. Why did Jesus allow this man to suffer for so long? Why didn't he come sooner? Why wait until he'd been cutting himself for years? Why let 2,000 demons torment him? We don't know. Scripture doesn't say. But I think it's because this man's deliverance was never just about him. It was about showing the world, showing us, that no possession is too great. No bondage is too strong. No darkness is too deep. If Jesus can free a man with legion inside him, he can free you from whatever's holding you captive. The demons knew his name. They called him Son of the Most High God. The question is, do you? Because the same Jesus who commanded 2,000 demons is the same Jesus who can command whatever's oppressing you to leave. Legion thought they were many, but Jesus is one. And one is all it takes. Comment, Jesus sets the captives free if you believe he still has the power to deliver. And subscribe to Shadow Scribe for more biblical mysteries that will change how you see Scripture.